This is The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good morning, Tuscaloosa. Good morning, Tuscaloosa. Internet world, West Alabama. How we doing today on Wednesday? Whew, it's not Tuesday anymore. It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday on the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral, BamaCentral.com. Hope you are having a great hump day. We're live in the Derek Daniels State Farm Studios, just off McFarland Boulevard, ready to talk some Alabama sports with you on the BamaCentral YouTube channel. We're brought to you by Purple Turtle Roofing. Visit roofturtle.com for all of your roofing needs. They'll come out and give you a free roof inspection. We appreciate roof. Woo! roofturtle.com. I got you. It's all good. Roof Turtle for Purple Turtle Roofing for spots in the program. Whether you've got a metal roof or a shingle roof, it doesn't matter. They'll come out and take care of you. Whether you have commercial needs or residential needs, they'll come out and give you the peace of mind that you deserve. So we appreciate Purple Turtle Roofing for spots in the program. We're going to have a lot of fun today with our friend Theo Fernandez. You can follow him at Theo Fernandez __ on the Twitter machine, covering all things Alabama athletics for us at BamaCentral. About to be a big old soccer expert covering the World Cup for Fox Sports. So can't wait to keep up with all his coverage of the beautiful game this summer at Theo Fernandez _. We're going to have a lot of fun today. We're going to talk a lot of football topics, college football playoff. We're going to talk about Alabama football's newest commitment. You got a defensive end commitment yesterday, edge rusher commitment yesterday. We're going to talk about that. We've got a lot on the docket today. What else did I have? Oh, yes, opponents, future opponents for Alabama. You've got a lot of common former quarterbacks that you played last season. You played a lot of quarterbacks last season that you will see again this year. So I want to talk about the defense facing quarterbacks that had modicums of success against Alabama and a lot more. Alabama baseball, unfortunately, lost last night. Theo, the Dogs didn't help the boys pull through last night. Or what, were they a distraction?
The Dogs weren't a distraction. The Dogs were apathetic. You know, if the Dogs were a little more tapped into Alabama baseball, would have led to a comeback. I don't know if you saw Katie and Tony's dog was it posted that things were so bad the dog wouldn't even look at the field, and it was just the dog laying the opposite way.
Oh no!
So it wasn't good.
Oh no! Well, I wonder if the distraction. I thought, I saw your article. Errors again was 11-2 or 11-6.
11-2.
Oh, brutal. And I thought, well, I wonder if the puppies are barking, and the player, first baseman looks over. Oh, look at that Cocker Spaniel, Golden Retriever. Look at that Pit Bull. Look at that, whatever, Shih Tzu. And that's why all the errors were happening.
No, and, honestly, like, you bring all the dogs in. You had a packed house, but the Dogs didn't really have the impact on the game I was hoping for. I've never seen your eyes before. This is new, Kyle. I agree. It feels like I'm talking to a real person over here, not just like a robot behind the screen. So we get the nice, like, eye contact, intimate feel on the Joe Gaither Show today.
Well, really, I use the glasses, I'll tell you, because sometimes I get tripped up, and it really helps me to just close my eyes and speak if I'm getting kind of, you hear it sometimes. I'll get tripped up. If I close my eyes, it slows myself down. I can just really deliver what I'm trying to say in a clear and concise fashion. But it doesn't look good on the camera if I'm just closing my eyes, speaking into the. So the glasses give me a little coverage.
You can just like.
Right. The John Cena. Yeah. You can't see me. Right. Exactly.
That's what you do need to close your eyes.
Oh man. So here's an amateur, ignorant question for someone who barely pays attention to baseball, and I'm about to jump right into it. These midweek games, these last few. Not good results that you've had, particularly last night. Is it just because you're playing the bottom end of the roster? You're playing the bottom end of the roster. You're giving all the young pitchers chances to get a taste of college baseball. And, of course, UAB, super hungry to beat Big Bad Bama. And great, you should be. But is it just a circumstance where it's just a bunch of young players and maybe these guys are still marinating and not like this is an SEC game, and maybe was the roster last night, not what you see over the weekend against Tennessee this upcoming weekend, for example?
So my whole thesis on what I wrote last night was that midweek results do not matter. The idea that, Alabama went out and lost to UAB. does not really affect much. Doesn't really affect the seeding, the RPM. Midweek losses happen. Florida's lost to like 7 midweek teams this year. Like a lot of good teams have lost bad games. The problem with these midweek losses for Alabama, Southern Miss was whatever. You ran into a great team. South Alabama in this UAB game, it was a culmination of the issues that have plagued your team all season. It is a microcosm of the season unfolding in one game. Now, Alabama pitched freshman Luke Smyers in this game last night, and Smyers is going to, I believe, be one of the biggest guys in this bullpen starting next year. I think this is a really high upside player. Virginia Gatorade Player of the Year last year in high school. He just didn't have his stuff. He hit 2 batters. He committed a throwing error. So UAB goes out, scores 3 runs off of him. He gets pulled. 2 more runs end up being attributed to Smyers, who only recorded 1 out. So you threw Smyers, but then he went right into JT Blackwood, Austin Morris, Connor Lehman, all the guys who've been throwing on these midweeks. So quite frankly, like, no, the roster is the roster. You're always going to throw the, weaker guys on the bullpen, but so is UAB, right? UAB is also throwing their kind of bottom of the barrel pitching. So really, like, there's nothing to talk about roster-wise. Like, you threw your guys, and it just didn't work out because it was a Jason Torres error in the first, because it was Brady Neal who entered the game with only 3 errors, playing a new position in right field, committing 2, and both of those were literally picks up the ball, like fields it, goes back to throwing, like it just slips out of the hands as he's throwing. It was just, man, these errors are a problem.
Oh, tragic, honestly. How do you fix an error problem in the middle of the season? Is it possible? Because, I mean, you have like 3 weeks left. You have like 2 weeks left. Can you start playing clean defensive baseball, or is it just, it is what it is? The team wasn't fundamentally prepared in the offseason? I don't know. I'm asking.
It's really weird, man. Like, Justin LeBron, I think, is the biggest example of this, because like LeBron's been great. He has never struggled with errors. It has never been a storyline at any point in his career. And now we're talking about him at 15 errors. And now this guy was supposed to be a defensive wizard. You have people who legitimately think he probably has to play outfield in the MLB. That might be an overreaction. I think it's a bit of an overreaction, but it's a take that you can make without being laughed at now, which would not have happened, a year ago. So you look at the LeBron stuff, like, okay, Jason Torres committing an error. It's not groundbreaking stuff. We know he's always struggled defensively. Luke Vaughn at first base. I mean, you threw a guy who'd never played first base at first. Like that. Yeah, there are obviously going to be misread plays and issues there. But just the overall trends, I mean, Bryce Fowler, I think it was Bryce Fowler who had one yesterday. Like, that doesn't happen. Like, that's not a thing that happens consistently for him, but it's happened enough this year for him and all the other, like, quote unquote, defensive plus guys. You've got John Lem back behind the plate. He's a guy who, I love John Lem. I think it's a great story that he's on this team. I think he's a very solid bat. He's not the most, you're giving stuff up by having him behind the plate. So I think it's a mixture of guys who maybe aren't the best defensively. You don't have the best defensive roster this year. That's one. That's always going to put you in probably the top half of the SEC in errors. At a certain point, it just becomes about, you have to question how mentally prepared this team is on a day-to-day basis. And Rob Vaughn took a lot of responsibility yesterday for that, basically saying, this is on me. I did a terrible job preparing these guys for this game. Alabama, I don't know how many errors LSU had yesterday, but Alabama is first in the SEC with now 61 errors on the season. Only SEC school at 60. Lowest fielding percentage in the conference. And look, LSU is really trying to take all those from Alabama. LSU just going band for band on the defensive errors, but Alabama appears determined to win that race.
Oh, man. So really, it just kind of sounds like it is what it is. And you're just hoping over the next couple of weeks that you get better at that. I mean, you're just waiting on the next error. Because to me, I'm wondering if I'm just going to be walking into the press box and just waiting on the next error.
the theme for this season as of late, probably since the end of the Oklahoma series, to me has been passive. It's passive when you fall into an early deficit. It's passive when you have a lead, right? And it has gone from proactive, continue what you're doing, to, man, oh no, can we hold on in this game? Can our bullpen do enough to get us the win? And with the errors, it feels like we're just sitting around waiting for the next one that's going to cost this team. I watched Justin LeBron in a game that you should have won on a Friday night against Arkansas when you're coming off 3 straight series wins. I watched Justin LeBron commit the 2 errors in one play that leads to 4 runs going on the board. And since then, especially, because you've had, since that game, meaning over your last 8 games, you've now had 19 errors. That is as atrocious as it gets. I don't know if it's going to change at any point this season. You almost just have to hope that it comes in a moment where you can afford it. But knowing this team, it doesn't feel like that'll happen. It feels like you're going to lose a game at some point, a big game, possibly a season-ending game because of an error.
Oh, man. And so the boys are back in action tomorrow. It's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series, right? Okay, yeah. So it's a little bit earlier, just a small adjustment to your normal college baseball schedule. The boys will be back in action in Knoxville on Thursday. Tomorrow, it'll be Thursday, Friday, Saturday series against the masterly Tennessee Vols, and you gotta bounce back. You gotta put that Tuesday game in the rearview mirror quickly and stay kind of at least treading water in the SEC, trying to fight for good positioning in the conference tournament. You got any other baseball comments before we move on to football? I don't want to cut you off because that's the sport that's going on at the moment, but I don't want to spend all day talking baseball.
Yeah, we'll talk tennis. We'll talk the Tennessee series tomorrow because you think Alabama's having a weird year. It's probably just as weird up in Knoxville. That'll be a really season, I think, defining series almost for both those teams.
Oh, actually, no. Perfect. Yes, I agree with you. I have a voicemail here. And I believe it's baseball centric. So let's while we're talking baseball, we want to play this voicemail. You can call the voicemail line at 205-462-7340, extension 800. I got a football topic or 3 on my brain, but here is Hunter Brantley on the voicemail line.
It's been a while since I've talked to you boys, and really everything that y'all have talked about that was worth talking about surrounding Alabama football, y'all have already, like I said, y'all have already discussed it. I was going to call in, talk about 8A, but that's past. That's long gone. We've moved on to the draft. Basketball has been doing good in the transfer portal. Women's basketball is doing really good. So let's talk about baseball. How about it? Rob Vaughn, what is going on, man? I mean, you're supposed to be this hitting guru, and we're getting blitzed by freaking UAB. They came into your house and just skull drugged us. What do you do at practice, man? What is going on? Do y'all, work on just hitting a baseball? Do y'all do other stuff, other drills besides BP? Does that go on during practice? What's it looking like out there? You know what I mean? This is kind of disheartening. This is very embarrassing to have to deal with this and see this once a week. On the weekend, it's 3 times, and it's just, like I said, it's pitiful. It's pathetic. So why can't we get this fixed? You know what I mean? I feel like it's not that hard. I get it. Hitting a baseball is challenging. Then again, you had a really good portal class. You had a really good recruiting class. I just don't understand. I can't understand the concept of how we can't hit better than what we're doing right now. Last year we were hitting great. This year we suck. And I really can't wrap my head around it. So maybe y'all two have answers, because I sure as heck don't. With that being said, if we do not turn this thing around and we do not start hitting better and we go on this big losing skid and we start losing more and more, we lose a series to Tennessee, lose the series to Vanderbilt, lose the series, God forbid we lose the series to South Carolina. But if that happens, what if, hear me out, what if we took a page out of Mal Moore's book and hired Tony Vitello? Kind of what football did, kind of like what football did in 2007. Saban wins the championship at LSU, goes to the pros, comes back to college, starts the greatest dynasty in football history, college athletics history. What if we did the same thing But with baseball, Tony Vitello wins a championship at Tennessee, goes to the Giants. Why he did that, I don't know. That's besides the point. Bring him back to college where he thrived at Alabama, start the greatest dynasty ever. Rest is history. Come on, why not? Why not? I mean, they're not even going to have a season next year in 2027. It's going to be a lockout. It's going to be a lockout year. Bring him back. Let Rob, I'm not wishing this. I hope we succeed. But if we continue to lose and we continue to hit like crap, hey, it's worth thinking about. It's worth keeping it in the back of your head. One call away. Just one call away. Why not? Why not? You know, what's the worst that could happen? Like Tennessee, when he got there, sucked. Look what he did. They were a powerhouse with him. Why not Bama? Why not?
Hunter Brantley throwing wild stuff on the wall. Go ahead.
I think I need to take a second to process that
Does
one.
his wild stuff stick to the wall, asking to hire Tony Vitello if first off, Rob Vaughn's still gainfully employed. First off, you're right. Gainfully employed and sitting there with a, you can be the disappointment's fine. It's okay to be upset about last night's game. Perfectly fine. But look at the SEC standings. You're right there mid-pack, as Theo outlined yesterday. Season's not gone off the rails yet. Let's not just go ahead and jump off a cliff because maybe it'll go off the rails. Go ahead.
Right now, it feels like we're in the middle of history repeating itself, right? You had a year last season where you started great. You were as high as number 8 in the rankings, which is actually as high as Alabama got this year in the D1 baseball poll, and it doesn't feel like you're going to get higher again. And you're in the exact same spot right now, late April, 4 series left, and you're right in the mix to get to host a regional, right? And last year, I believe you were like the 3rd team out, like you were 3 spots away or 2 spots away from getting to host one. This year, it's going to be right in that same mix, right? If you host it, it'll be because you won a game or 2 late. If you miss it, it'll be literally 1 or 2 games that keep you away from it. You're going to go to a regional, whether you're hosting or on the road, where you are right in contention for it. It's not a bad spot to be as a baseball program that has not been to the College World Series in now 27 years. I'm going to make a bold take right now. This is coming from the guy, obviously, who hasn't had the most positive takes about Alabama athletic programs. Alabama's College World Series drought will not reach 30 years. You made it in 99. You are going to make it in the next 3 years with Rob Vaughn. I am not out on Rob Vaughn. I am not out on this program. Also, I mean, look, Tony Vitello's had some storylines. He's 10-13 at this point in the season. This is not like, oh, things are complete. You just beat the Dodgers last night. You're 10-13. You've had, obviously, some questionable, like, okay, yeah, I went and told everyone that my players keep fighting each other in the clubhouse. I don't know why you're doing that, but okay, he's settling in, all right? I don't think he's going to be a one and done, instantly realizes he needs to leave college. And I certainly don't think, even if Alabama completely falls apart, there is a world where Alabama loses 3 of these Final 4 series, right? You're not going to lose the South Carolina series, but you can lose 3 out of 4 realistically. One and done in the SEC tournament. 2 games out of a
No, hold on.
Yeah.
We're not wishing them one and done in the SEC tournament. We're not prognosticating that because I got to eat in Hoover.
Yeah, you do.
I got it. We got to. Bama baseball's got to go at least 3 games in Hoover so I can gain about 5 pounds a session.
Man, I'm a little jealous. That food is so good.
Oh.
But like, let's just say
You're right. Keep going. I'm sorry.
Scenario, right?
I'm just.
Even if that happened, I mean, yeah, it would be underwhelming. I don't even think the seat under Rob Vaughn would be remotely warm.
Exactly.
Like, okay, the guy took over a program in the midst of a just horrendous.
Everybody wants to go to the mountaintop like right bleeping now. If we're not on the top of the mountain right now, we must have the wrong guy. Get out of here. Go get a new guy.
What I will like, the only thing that should happen at the end of this season, if things continue this way, is maybe you should make a position coach change, which I think probably has been a little overdue. And it's not Jason Jackson. I like JJ. I think JJ has actually had probably his best season working with what he's got. You might want to go maybe get a new hitting coach. And I think you also have to look really long and hard in the mirror. Not that Rob Vaughn hasn't been doing that, but if you really do go 3 years without, even sniffing a super regional, coming close to it, you got to consider things. But at the end of the day, you've had a ton of regular season success. You've done a great job, I think, getting guys in the portal, right? And certainly keeping the guys that you get as long as that continues this offseason. I'm not sounding the doomsday alarms right now with Alabama baseball. I certainly don't think we need to be going out and talking about Tony V to Alabama, although like, as much as I give Hunter Brantley some crap for like some of his takes, he's sometimes on things weirdly early.
Well, I don't think like as an idea, it's a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. It's a good idea. Like if you were in the market for a baseball, but Alabama's not even close. Right. You're like, yes, the season can go off the rails as you just described, can continue to go in the direction you're going as you just described. But I think that you are still a little bit in the shadow of the Brad Bohannon scandal, a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Maybe.
A hair, a little, and that you're happy. Like Rob Vaughn has been a builder of this program, and you are pouring the foundation in. And sometimes there have been cracks in there have been cracks in the foundation of this program, right? And so he's got to fill the concrete, and it's going to take a while. I think that I don't know. When I think about Rob Vaughn, I think about a good developer, a good recruiter, and I'm happy with the direction of the baseball program because I feel like they're more relevant right now than they have been in the last 10 years.
You know what it will take for me to possibly be out on Rob Vaughn, right? Because I've seen that comment a lot. It feels like every couple weeks a new burner account will reply, "I'm officially out on Rob Vaughn," right? And it'll spread.
This is not an airport. You don't have to announce your departure.
Yeah. Well, also, like, we shouldn't. Let me say, one of the things, like, I would not be addressing even like the idea of social media reactions if Rob hasn't made it such a big point to react to it. And I'm going to read this quote because this was a kind of bizarre quote to hear last night from Coach. "I'm going to go get my phone here in a minute, and I'm going to try to not look at Twitter because everybody's going to tell me that I'm the worst hitting coach in the country, and they're probably not wrong. As of today, Bad did a terrible job." I mean, come on. That was an interesting quote to hear. Social media obviously is a crazy world of overreactions and burners and all that.
He just needs to give Nick his Twitter accounts and let Nick handle it.
Well, he's said before that he doesn't check it during the season, like he said the NATO's statement, but I don't know how accurate that is. I mean, there's also one pretty big problem to the Tony Vitello path, which is I don't think Alabama is the program that lands Tony Vitello, right? I think it's the biggest program in the country that needs a head coach will land him. Vitello is also a guy that, if you have a coach like at a program like, obviously not LSU because you have Jay Johnson, but any of these other big programs that wants to spend on baseball, you fire your coach if Tony V hits the market. Mm-hmm. Alabama's not that program. Tony V will get a massive it will really feel like Saban returning to college football if and probably when Tony Vitello eventually returns to the college game.
Yeah, I do believe he will return, but I don't think that it will be at Alabama.
Yeah, color me very surprised at that.
All right, so we took, and it's not your fault. Baseball is in the middle of the season, and they had a dramatic night last night, so we had to react to it. I appreciate Hunter Brantley joining us on the voicemail line at 205-462-7340, extension 800 on the voicemail line. We took a little longer on baseball than I had planned, So if you were waiting on football conversation, I apologize to you. Let's move right into football real quick. And why don't we go to the actual hard level news of Stevan Thornton? Have you looked at this young man, Stevan Thornton, yet? Theo, defensive end out of Cairo, Georgia, has committed to the University of Alabama. 3-star recruit, had a bunch of tackles for loss, had 8 sacks last season, ended up on a 10-3 football team, making it to the Georgia quarterfinals of the state playoffs. What do I have? 6'3", 200 pounds, 6'4", 200 pounds. Depends on where you're looking. And looks like a good player. Rising senior, becomes the 5th player in the class of 2027 for the Crimson Tide. So the class is still pretty small. You're already doing the deadgum silly, well, Alabama recruiting is bad because they're low in the rankings. It's April. It's April. Calm down. Take a deep breath, and let's see where we are in July. We say this every single deadgum year. I'm not going to address it again. Take a deep breath and wait till July. This is part of the deep breath as Alabama adds Stevan Thornton to its class of 2027.
What did you see on the size, the measurables?
Did I see 6? I wrote 6 something. 6'5", 200. I said 6'3", 6'5", 200.
Okay, because I see 6'6", 195 on 3. I'm seeing different numbers from about everywhere, but
he is a skinny boy right here. Skinny, long fella. But he is long.
And that's the kind of guy I'd like to recruit, right? I'd like to recruit the very small football player who clearly has the reach, has the physical gifts, and maybe, just needs to spend the next 3 years adding 30 pounds.
His huddle tape is nice. Keep going.
It's just, I'm at the point where I see Alabama, this can go for a lot of the bigger, I see Alabama add a guy like this, and I kind of trust, okay, here's a high ceiling guy. There's a very good shot he doesn't reach that ceiling, right? There's a very good shot that he gets to Tuscaloosa, doesn't ever really play meaningful snaps, right, and ends up transferring out. That's not out of the realm of possibility. But come on, there's no reason to laugh at the adding a 3-star. This guy's offered by Georgia already, right?
Georgia Tech, Florida State. Originally got offered by Wake Forest. But look, if you are getting offered by Georgia and Georgia Tech in the state of Georgia, they know about you. They like you.
Yeah, there's no reason to be anything but, excited for the maybe possibility that's going to be.
What I like about him is on this huddle tape, I have now seen a stand-up 2-point stance playing actual outside linebacker. I have seen a 3-point stance playing defensive end. You've seen, he hasn't quite got into a 3 technique yet, but he's playing really both stand-up linebacker and end. I like this young man. Now, of course, this is all highlights, but I like he's got good athleticism for being on the edge and for being 200 pounds. He's got a quick first step. Ooh, imagine him at 225 pounds. Give him 25 pounds of muscle. You got a football player right here. And you never know what's going to happen. You got to hold on to him till December. And just like with recruiting, it can change at any time. But I think you got a football player in Stevan Tompkins. Stevan Thornton. I keep wanting to combine him and Devin Tompkins. Yeah.
No, I'm with you on this. It's hard to predict what a guy like this is going to become. But you see, I guess the
now here's the question: if you're one of these opposing coaches, why the heck are you not game planning for him? Seriously, because you've got a couple of these clips where he's on the edge and he's just flying in here untouched, and it's like, did y'all not see this college level player on the other side? We should probably block him. Man, he cuts right inside this tight end and flies in for a tackle for loss. He's got good speed.
Who's he play for? Does he have a beast on the other side?
Cairo, Georgia.
Cairo, Georgia. Doesn't ring a bell.
He's got a good first step. He's got an explosive first step, and he's just long. Shoot. If it doesn't work out for you at defensive end, Mo Linguist might take you in the defensive backfield at 6'5". No, just kidding. Too long. But I like this player. Is he going to be the greatest player ever? I'm not going to say that. But I do like a lot of his skills that we see. And you add 25 pounds right here, then you never know. I think you might have a football player in Stevan Thornton III.
The Cairo syrup makers.
I wrote that in the story.
That is
What
awesome.
What a great the syrup maker.
I love that.
We're gonna the syrup maker is gonna put you down.
I didn't know they made syrup in Georgia. I mean, they do it all the time up in New York. Like you tap the tree, get the sap out. I didn't know they did that down here.
There you go. I think in certain areas, yes.
So like I can't go do it just here in Bama. It's not going to really work out.
I think you need the right tree, and they may be here, but I don't know. I think you need a particular kind of tree.
So we can just tap like just about any. Like I got a tree in my backyard that I can like tap and get the.
Oh yeah,
sap
I mean
out.
it's a maple tree,
Yeah.
maple syrup. Like, do you want to have fern syrup? I guess it'd probably be
No,
nasty.
I'm
it'd probably be
but,
disgusting.
Like, if you had a maple tree down here, you could in theory. get
In
the-
theory, yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think the climate does help up in New York, kind of make it, taste the right way, have the right consistency, that sort of thing. But I do think the concept applies. You could have a version of maple syrup, if you planted it and waited a long, long time for it to mature.
Man, awesome pancakes.
There we go. I had a little like Kodak little pancake in a bowl thing. Very, very good. Hunter Cyber put me on those. So yeah, very good. Fun. Great. You got 5 recruits now in the class of 2027, and I'm not going to sit here and do what's going to add in the class. We'll react to the next guy as we go.
We have
And
no reason to doubt their ability. To
right.
guys.
In December, I think it's the 3rd. In December, you're going to see Alabama, and I'll bet my mortgage that they have a top 5 class.
And like we're really, I mean, I know this is kind of the slowish buildup, but we're really a month away, right?
Yeah,
From these things coming in regularly.
Exactly. Right.
Like, it's about to get real hot.
June, really, mid to late June is when I expect things to be like, oh, every few days, bam, here's another. Mid to late June, that 4th of July is pretty much that real like explosive part where it starts to pop off. So long way away from freaking out here.
What's off the top of your head what Elijah Haven's date is?
25th. So 3 days from now.
Man, that'll be
Georgia and Alabama. Elijah. I haven't watched much of him. I watched a clip of him in the playoffs, and he looked good. But obviously, like if you're picking between Georgia and Alabama, and you're a 5-star, you're a good player.
no, this guy's going. That would get people excited, obviously.
Well, we'll talk about that. I know that we've got some pre-written content already for the 25th, depending on who he chooses. Speaking of quarterbacks, good transition, Theo. Real quick for us as we're hanging out here in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios. Looking at next year's schedule, pretty interesting. 3 of the first 6 quarterbacks on Alabama's schedule likely. Depends on injury and if something weird happens in camp and some of these other programs. But Ashton Daniels, Lenore Sellers, and Gunnar Stockton are all on Alabama's schedule this coming season. All 3 quarterbacks Alabama has played already. In an 18-game stretch from 2025 to 2026, Alabama will likely have played 4 quarterbacks 9 different times. Ashton Daniels twice, Lenore Sellers twice, Gunnar Stockton 3 times. Maybe 4 if you see him again in the SEC championship, and then John Mateer twice with Oklahoma. So really, let's just start with these first 3 guys, because and the reason this has popped up is because Florida State has just recently announced Ashton Daniels as its starting quarterback. We already knew Lenore Sellers, we already knew Gunnar Stockton. Great, awesome. But Florida State has named Ashton Daniels, former Auburn Tiger, is starting quarterback, and I want to ask you, which of these 3 quarterbacks scares you the most? Obviously, Lenoris is probably the easiest answer here, but Lenoris coming to Tuscaloosa. You got South Carolina, you Shane Beamer. You've got Lenoris as a quarterback. His skill set does make me really, really, really excited. But I don't know. Can he process at a high enough level to come win in Bryant-Denny Stadium? I know the game 2 years ago here was very, very close, but it didn't start that way. Alabama started off on a really nice foot, and then South Carolina dug back into it and made it really close. I don't know. I am looking at these 3 quarterbacks, and I'm excited. But I ask you, we're all excited about this defense, this Alabama defense. Do Gunnar Stockton, do Lenore Sellers, do Ashton Daniels have advantages after seeing this defense multiple times?
I don't know. Like,
how do you make this
number
conversation?
3 for Sellers, right?
It'll be the 3rd game for Sellers, right?
And he's competed both times, but I don't think I'm chalking up him taking Alabama to the wire in 2025 because 2024 was close, right?
2024, he threw for 238 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He ran the ball for 19 yards. Last year, we all remember how close it was. He threw it for 222, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and he ran it for 67 yards and a touchdown. You remember the third and 1, 3rd and 2 touchdown quarterback read.
I just don't think there's correlation between those two results.
Okay.
I just think both and neither of those were a picture perfect performance from Alabama, especially the 2024 at home. Man, that was ugly. But I don't know how much one translates to the other.
Is there any world where these quarterbacks, obviously Gunnar Stockton's got a really, really good team around him.
Yes.
And that's going to give him a huge advantage to coming to Tuscaloosa and winning. Lenoris, I think, is a cyborg quarterback. Doesn't have as good of a team around him, and I'm not as enthusiastic about his coaching staff in their preparation, but he's still a cyborg and a really, really good player. Ashton Daniels was pretty electric in this Auburn game. He ended up against Alabama 259 yards, a touchdown, 1 interception. He ran for 108 yards as well, over 300 yards of total offense. 300 yards total offense and a touchdown for Auburn. Man,
I think Daniels is probably the one guy, the only one of the three that I think it really is a storyline for, because of the fact that it's a non-SEC team.
Sure.
Right? Because of here's a guy who has not just played Alabama, but played Alabama in as high pressure a game as you're going to play Alabama in.
Definitely.
Right? And you're going to a Florida State pro. I have no clue what Florida State's roster looks like. Admittedly, I don't know how much they were. I have to imagine there's a lot of new pieces, but you'll probably return it.
I'll tell you this much.
Enough to talk about, hey, guys, we remember beating Alabama.
Ashton Daniels, I am so thankful that Gus Malzahn retired, because Ashton Daniels and Gus Malzahn's offense. If the Alabama fans thought that Thomas Castellanos stuck it in your ear last year, Ashton Daniels in that offense would be much more upsetting.
Gus being gone is almost the biggest reason I feel confident in Alabama to win, right? That Florida State game. I think it's a storyline for Daniels. I don't really think. I just think there are bigger storylines with the South Carolina, Sellers. He played Alabama twice, sure. It is kind of crazy that Alabama and South Carolina are playing 3 years in a row. Feels a little odd. But Georgia, come on, there's so many bigger things in an Alabama-Georgia game than, these QB, you happen to play.
But Gunnar Stockton doesn't scare me. Gunnar Stockton doesn't scare me one bit.
Doesn't scare me, but you know that, he's neutral, I guess.
Gunnar Stockton doesn't move my needle one teeny bit. The issue with Georgia is the physicality, up front. The physicality, he didn't make a single throw in the SEC championship game that was, that made me go, not a single one. It was all, he had a corner route. But it was basically in between zone coverage. That was a good read. Good job. Everything else was just quick out to the flat, screens, easy completions. It's Georgia's physicality that made those passes so open, because you're so concerned about everything else. You're so concerned about getting punched in the mouth that, somebody just ran right past me on a flag route, and I've been getting punched in the mouth all day. I'm tired. This guy, Gunnar doesn't intimidate me one bit.
I'm right there with you.
But I'm intimidated by Ashton Daniels. I'm intimidated by Lenoris Sellers. I think that those two guys are real dangerous weapons that Kane Womack that might keep our friend Kane Womack up at night.
Yeah, but are you worried about Sellers because he's played Alabama twice?
A little bit.
Really?
Just because of the familiarity. Their skill sets, yes, their skill sets are mostly what's in play here. But just because of the familiarity of, I've seen this team twice now. I've almost had them. Ashton Daniels, I guess they almost had him too at Auburn last year. But you got so close. I bet you Lenoris is really, really getting geared up to come to Tuscaloosa.
I'm worried about Sellers because I think that this is an extremely talented QB with a program that, I mean, look, you had an atrocious year last season, right? In a year where you entered with very high expectations. And my, historical data would probably suggest that you're going to have a really slow start to the season as usual with Shane Beamer. But there is a world where South Carolina puts it together. You're certainly talented enough to. You certainly have a QB with. I mean, I don't know what the projections are for the high end of Sellers' season, but I think his ceiling is probably as high as anybody's, right?
Yeah, I totally agree. My question on Lenoris is, can you eliminate the just special needs decisions that he sometimes makes? Sometimes. I think sometimes he doesn't value the football enough. I think sometimes he throws some balls into traffic, and I also think sometimes he plays a little bit like he's invincible, in the sense that it's just careless, not as careful as he needs to play.
And that's one of the things that, in theory, it's another year of probably learn a lot of lessons.
I mean, it was a pick six last year, right? Deshaun Jones.
Yep.
Yeah, you just threw right kind of at him.
You made a reckless throw inside your own red zone. That's, in theory, the stuff that you dial back, or you just decide, I'm a loose cannon my whole career. And then this is a guy with day one NFL upside, right? If you turn things around.
How you feel about this Alabama defense, Kane Womack? You getting excited about him, or you still got questions?
No, I'm excited. I really do. I think that, I don't know if this is just me getting a little biased by just all the discourse around me, but I think I feel a level of confidence with the defensive line that I maybe didn't have entering the spring. And my biggest only question right now is with the inside linebackers. And you guys know I've been in the QB Reese camp for as long as
you got some young killers in that room.
It's like, I don't know. I kind of just trust that one or two guys will step up. I mean, I've heard Luke Met's name a lot more this spring than I thought I would, right? And he seems like a guy who maybe could be ready earlier than we expected. And then you have if this isn't the best secondary in the nation this year, something went wrong is where I'm at.
Something went wrong, or we're not following college football, because I can't come up with another one.
It absolutely should be elite. It should be making massive game-changing plays on a near weekly basis. I think the secondary is going to carry this team extremely far.
I think you're going to see a really high rotation of the inside linebackers, because I think you've got a group of 5, 6 players who are full of potential, who play hard. There will be some mistakes, but you just got to let them get out there and play.
So obviously we're looking at Woodson as the guy who gets the most play on the field.
Woodson, QB Reese, Luke Metz are probably my and Caden Jones. I'm starting with those 4. And then the next guy, Duke Johnson, is probably my 5th, and Abdul Sanders is my 6th. Yeah. And really, I can see all 6 getting pretty heavy rotation. You go play 3 snaps, come talk about what you saw, and then you go play 3 more snaps, come talk about what you saw. I think Chuck Morrell is going to have these 6 linebackers in a small little. 2 of them are in, the other 4 are around him, huddled up and talking about what's going on, and then 2 go in, and a couple go off. I think it's going to be a constant 2 in, 2 out, 1 in, 1 out, constant. What are you seeing out there? Woodson, I think, stays most of the time. But that second spot, I think, gets pretty heavily rotated.
You'd think by the end of the season, though, you have some level of, 2 guys probably really emerge as the guys there.
Maybe, yes.
I find it hard to believe that we're going to be rotating like that through the end of the season. I think that
why wouldn't you?
I guess it would be QB Reese.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
I think you're going to have some separation. I think naturally over the course of the season, I think it's a little. Obviously, it's too early for us to sit here and make a prediction, but I don't think it's a bold take to say that somebody is going to likely underwhelm, right? Somebody's not going to be ready. Somebody is going to rise to the occasion and get rewarded with probably a regular starting role. I don't know who it's going to be. I just have seen enough football to say that I think somebody will do it.
It's going to be Mets.
You think it's going to be Mets? I have my money on QB Reese.
Well, oh gosh, QB's so hard to bet against. Yes. I like QB a lot.
And maybe it'll be those two, right? Those two end up getting it. You two are the guys in rotation. You guys are splitting 50% of the reps.
I mean, you saw last year it was basically 3 players for 2 spots.
I think maybe it'll be 4 players for 2 spots. It won't be 6. Like for example, like Duke Johnson. I thought he impressed on A-Day. Having my eyes fully on the defense during that, I kept seeing Duke Johnson do things I didn't really know he was going to be doing out on the football field. No way of knowing if that translates to regular season success.
We will see as we continue to talk about it this summer and the fall. We cannot wait for Alabama. How many days did I put on the roll tide on the tracker last night?
We're approaching 120.
We should be. I put 137, but actually I don't know if I updated. I think it's 136.
You know what's crazy is someone could have just messed up a day at any point this offseason. We could just be a day off.
We probably are. Let's find out. Days till September 5th.
We'll find out.
What do you think? Yeah, it's 136. I messed that up last night. I gotta edit it so that Hunter has it correct for tonight. Yeah, 136 days. You got any other football topics? Let's save the football expansion, the playoff expansion, because it seems like the college football playoff is trending to expand to 24 teams. Let's save that. We'll get more information on what that looks like and react to that tomorrow. Any other Alabama quarterback, linebacker, defensive, baseball conversations you have in your brain?
No, nothing. The only thing I can think of is a basketball portal closing.
Portal's closed.
Yeah.
Colin Sonyagiaka and Keaton Bristow did not go into the transfer portal. How surprised are you that those two, I mean, Keaton especially?
Yeah, I don't know. I kept hearing people talk about Collins entering the portal, and I didn't really know why. I didn't really know.
I think if you got good medical care,
yeah, right.
If you got a medical issue and you got good medical care, stick with it.
Right. And I feel like we probably have. I haven't heard anyone with serious intel on where he's at physically right now. I think he's basically a question mark. But hey, if he turns into something, he was obviously recruited for a reason. And it's funny, you're college age now,
right?
It's like, okay, it's kind of funny to think you're going into your true freshman season. So, you're going into what would be your true freshman season. So it's almost like if you play this 2027 season and don't really get on the court much, you still haven't lost anything. You're still going to have 3 years eligibility at a young age to become something. The Keaton Bristow thing, that really does surprise me. That really, not because obviously we know the way he was talked about during the season.
Kenneth Fareed.
I was going the other angle on that. I would have a hard time personally going back and continuing to play, if the fan base had talked about me in those ways. But I think this Alabama fan base is ready to, go all in on rooting for Keaton Bristow and wanting to see this guy succeed. And he certainly, look at that Illinois game. Look at that game against a Final Four team. No, am I mixing up my games? Was it Illinois?
No, it was Illinois.
It was Illinois, right?
In Chicago.
Where he had the 7 rebounds, the big performance. I was worried for a second. He had some very, very impactful moments early on the court. And you get this guy with A, healthy, clean slate medically. B, actual support around him in the big man room so that he, when he is on the court, is able to truly just be a role player. I think the ceiling's very high for, as far as Keaton Bristow being a guy that gives you some very high leverage minutes.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that what you saw in the limited time that you did see him was encouraging. I'm not going to speculate on the commitment of his level of commitment because I think that there's some things at play. I think that he had some some actual injuries that he needed to just get off his feet and recover from.
He was not healthy last year.
And so,
point blank.
And so you've got the section of the fan base. He quit on the team. He's quit. I mean, you can take that track if you want to. I don't think that's completely fair. What will he do this coming season? very hard to guess, but I do think he's going to be a rebounding monster for this team if he can stay healthy. And I think the first game that he gives you 8 rebounds, it's going to be total flip by the fan base. It's going to be, oh, it was so good. We've always loved you. You're the best player ever. Scholarship for life.
No, I completely agree on that. I'm
just like Noah. Noah was so, such a nothing player for so long. As soon as Noah Williamson did anything positive, it was like cheering on the special needs manager at the end of the bench.
But I don't think Keaton Bristow falls into that category though, because I think this is a legitimate.
I do. I think he's a good player.
Basketball player.
Yeah, I do think he has the potential to be a good player and has the potential to have a very important role in the team. If you're one of the better rebounding bigs, buddy, you're on the floor.
We talked about it last week when Hunter was on, and I stand by it. I think that Keaton Bristow will average more minutes per game than Brandon Garrison.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Like, this is a guy he is a legitimate, probably I don't know, third guy off the bench for Alabama.
Solid 4-man.
Yeah. I think it's a significant role, and I'm glad that this is a piece that Alabama has coming back, because I don't know. I look at this big man room and do you even need another guy? Like, if you don't add another big in the portal, are you losing sleep? I think you probably should try to.
You're not losing sleep, but just from the sake of security, safety, just covering all your bases, you should fill every spot you have. Yes. After this season played out the way it did with the walking wounded on the sidelines, you should fill every spot you have. And I understand, it's very hard for a coach to say, hey, come take our 14th scholarship, come take our 15th scholarship, because you may or may not play in any games at all. But you got to try to convince somebody to take that 14th, 15th scholarship. Coach has always been like, well, we'll leave that scholarship open because I don't want to, convince somebody. It's hard to manage rotations. After what we experienced this year, I think you try to fill every spot.
You never know when you're going to make a midseason addition, though.
That's right. Oh,
gotta be.
We'll talk about college football playoff tomorrow. We'll have Katie Wyndham join us tomorrow. I know that Everett Osmer has a voicemail for Katie that he wants to play, so we'll play that tomorrow. If you want to talk to Katie, have a voicemail for her, have a question for her, you can call at 205-462-7340, extension 800. The softball girls, they know how to handle UAB. A run rule, or they beat them 6-0 last night. So not a run rule, but shut them out and handle business in midweek. So they didn't let the Blazers mess with the softball girls. They are staying hot. We'll see how they go over the weekend. We'll get Katie on here to talk Alabama softball, to talk 8A, to talk basketball transfer portal, all kinds of things tomorrow. Follow Katie Wyndham at Katie Wyndham _. Subscribe to Crimson Flame. I believe she'll be putting out a new episode today about women's athletics. So it's going to be a lot of fun to catch up with Katie tomorrow. Follow Theo Fernandez at Theo Fernandez _. Myself at Joe Gaither 6. We appreciate Purple Turtle Roofing for sponsoring the program. Visit them online at roofturtle.com and call Derek Daniel for all of your insurance needs. He's right upstairs at 205-462-7340. Nope, 205-758-3391. You always get the voicemail line and Derek Daniel's number confused because of the 205. Derek Daniel, State Farm Insurance, is 205-758-3391.
I think anyone's ever called Derek Daniel asking to call into the show.
Do we have a voicemail?
Yeah.
That'd be hilarious.
That'd be
It'd be great. We got to go find Red right now and ask him if anybody's bothered them. Call Red, 205-758-3391. He's sitting right on the front desk for Derek Daniel, State Farm Insurance, and they'll take care of you today. We'll talk to you tomorrow with Katie Wyndham right here on the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral, BamaCentral.com.